Hello and welcome to Those Endless Mysteries. It's been a very busy summer and fall for me. I haven't had much time to do any videos for the last couple of months. The stories just keep pouring in from all over the country. I try to get as many of these sighting stories as I can. Now that I'm doing these videos, I want to make sure that I have as much of the information on these sightings as possible. With that said, why don't we jump right into our next Bigfoot sighting? Today we will be looking into a Bigfoot sighting from August the 12th of 2007. This sighting happened around Mount Shasta, California. There were three witnesses to this encounter: Greg, David, and Tony. These three friends had decided to go on a hiking and camping trip. So let's start with Greg's side of the event. Greg says that they all hooked up around 7 a.m. that morning. After loading up the truck, they headed to Mount Shasta to do a long hike and a night of camping, with them hiking back out the next day. As they arrived at their starting point and headed up the trail, they all were in great spirits and looking forward to their trip. Greg says that they were laughing and joking around as they were around 1 to 1.5 hours into their hike, when David said that he had seen something big move on the right of the trail, which Greg said that David couldn't tell them what had moved. David said it was just something dark. I know it was something, David said again. So as we all stared off into the forest, trying to see what David had saw move. But as we stood there, we never noticed anything else move, he says. So we just started heading back up the trail, with them thinking no more of it. Once that they were around 3 hours into the hike, Greg said that they saw something up ahead of them, saying that it was big and dark in color. It was moving from the right, heading towards the trail, saying that it came within about 40 yards of them at one point, with them being able of getting a really good look at this creature at this time. Greg says that this creature was around 7 to 8 feet tall, with very dark brown hair. The arms looked very muscular and longer than a human's arm, while it also had a powerful looking torso. You could see how thick and massive the creature was through its chest. Greg also says he noticed that the head seemed to be setting onto its shoulders. If it did have a neck, he said, it wasn't much of one. That he watched it move down from a soft slope, down across the trail up in front of them, watching this creature till it was completely out of sight. Now, as for what Tony saw that day, Tony says that as they were hiking up the trail, that he noticed something large coming over a slight hill. The creature was very large and hairy. It walked on two legs as it was moving down the hill. Its long arms were swinging side to side as it moved. Its face was somewhat flat-looking, from at least what he could tell, he said. He thinks it was around 7.5 to 8 foot tall, with dark brown hair that was longer upon its arms and leg areas, saying it looked shorter on its chest and back as it moved away from them on the other side of the trail. I was in shock, said Tony. I have hiked these trails all my life. I've heard the stories of these animals plenty of times, but I never believed in them, he said. Even though it's been a little over 6 months since our sighting, I still see this thing in my dreams. That day changed my life in so many ways. I never believed in these creatures. But if these creatures are out there, then what about all the other strange creatures that people say they see in these forests? Could they be real as well? Tony says that he catches himself thinking about this question a lot anymore. Because if Bigfoots are real, then why not other creatures? I watch videos all the time anymore about cryptids, says Tony. He says he tries to get it out of his head, but that after seeing what he did, it's very hard, he said. So now what about David? What did he see that day? David says that as him and his two friends were hiking up the trail, he had already thought he had seen something off to the right of the trail. As they kept walking for about another hour or so, that he saw a large creature off to the right, about in the 2 o'clock position, he says. It walked on two legs, as it came down the slide up grade, while swinging its arms as it walked. Its arms hung almost down to its knees. Very long arms, David said. It looked to be a dark or reddish brown in color. I'm sure it wasn't black, said David. Well, this creature was around 8 to 8.5 feet tall. It was the tallest man in the world if it was someone in a suit. This creature was big, with very long strides in its steps as well. I looked over at Tony and Greg, and they weren't taking their eyes off of this thing. We watched it cross the trail about 35 to 40 yards in front of us. This creature moved with a purpose. It knew where it was going. It wasn't just wandering around the woods. The creature wasn't looking around and taking its time. We all were in awe of what we were seeing. This creature is not supposed to exist, says the scientist, but we saw this thing with our own eyes. So I hope you enjoyed this sighting. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you can keep up with all of our latest videos. Now this next sighting comes off the BFRO website. The report number on this one is 65679. It's from April of 2020 from Alabama. The location of this sighting is Washington County, just off the Highway 17. It is very wooded in this area. The witness says that there is only one older house in this area, and that it has been vacant as long as he can remember, with the closest town being Deer Park. The witness says that he was coming home from working, saying that his mind was preoccupied with the worries of his own life this day, when he suddenly noticed something up ahead, even though his mind was still focused upon the day's events. But he says he was waiting to see movement of some sort, while saying that it is second nature to keep an eye out for deers in this area. When he realized that it wasn't a deer that he was looking at, it was something unusual, he says, something that he has never seen before this day. He says he saw a very large and hairy animal walking off into the woods, that it wasn't walking on all fours, but walking on two legs. He never saw the face of this creature, but that he knows it had long blonde to light brown hair all over its body, saying that he kept his eyes on where he saw the creature go into the woods. Now the witness says as he came to the spot where the creature went out of his sight, at this point the witness says that he was in complete shock at the size of this creature, with him saying it was at least 9 foot tall, maybe bigger, saying that the only thing that he could think of was a Bigfoot at this point. So I know of plenty of Bigfoot sightings where these creatures are said to be blonde or even white. From what I can tell about this sighting, it didn't last but a few seconds. The witness also said that they might have been other witnesses to this event. He says that they were several cars up ahead of him, saying that he started looking for some deer or other wildlife as other cars were slowing ahead of him. So it does sound like a few more people may have seen this one. So if you see this video and you're one of those people, please drop me an email at thoseendlessmysteries@gmail.com. But from what the witness said about the size of this one, it sounds like a big male for sure. So what about one more sighting story then? This next sighting comes from the BFRO website as well. It's from Ohio from October the 31st of 2020. It comes out of the Hawken Hills area in Logan, Ohio. 10 friends had gotten together and rented a cabin for the weekend. They had gotten to the cabin on Thursday, the 29th of October, and would stay till Sunday, November the 1st. Everything was going great until Friday, when a nasty and strong smell came around the cabin. They said that it could only be smelled when they went outside of the cabin. Now being late Friday night, sometime after midnight, everyone had went to bed except for two of the group, which decided to go out on the deck. While being outside, they started hearing some loud noises, which sounded like branches being broken, while at the same time getting a feeling of someone or something watching them. Then the two heard something being thrown at them, they thought, saying at the time that they thought it was one of their group pranking them. Then all of a sudden came a very loud bang near them. With this freaking them out, they went running back into the cabin. Then one of them came into the witness's room and told him what had happened. So the witness and another girl went down to the kitchen area, where they turned off all the lights. They started looking out the windows around the cabin. Within a few minutes, one of the girls hollered out, "There it is," saying he went to the kitchen window where she was looking out. Now the witness says that he looked out and saw in the field a very large black figure walking on two legs right for the cabin. At this point, he thinks everyone yelled out, "What is that?" Not knowing if the yelling or something else might have scared the creature. It then suddenly turned and went back into the woods, stating that they all went out onto the deck. At this point, the witness says that they all heard loud howling sounds that none of them had ever heard before. Then we heard loud noises like branches breaking, when they suddenly heard the loud sounds in the front of the cabin, just a little off to the left, saying that they all moved to the front of the cabin, where they could hear something walking while hearing more branches breaking. Every now and then they could spot some movement in the tree line, which they say they saw a large footprint the next day. In the follow-up investigation, the witness was renting the cabin for her 51st birthday celebration, while also in the investigation, it said that at least four people saw the creature in the moonlight, saying that her son, which stands over 6 feet tall, stood where they saw the creature, with him being much smaller than the creature. When I first started reading this sighting report, I truly was thinking that it was a bunch of kids out having fun. It wasn't until I read the follow-up investigation that I realized it wasn't kids at all, but a family with a few of their close friends along with them. So I hope you have liked these three stories today. Until next time, have a great day. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you can keep up with all of our latest videos. And thanks for watching Those Endless Mysteries.